From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White. Prime Minister Mark Carney's opened the G7 Leader Summit in Alberta. The group of 7 nations will look at the shared threats they face in an increasingly dangerous world. U.S. President Donald Trump says his focus is trade. He says Canada and the U.S. have different concepts of a deal, but it's within reach.
I'm a tariff person. I've always been a tariff. It's simple, it's easy, it's precise, and it just goes very quickly. And I think Mark has a more complex idea, but also very good. So we're going to look at both, and we're going to see what we're going to come out with something, hopefully.
Trump also railed against Russia's ejection from what was known as the G8 in 2014. He blamed former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, even though Stephen Harper was still Prime Minister at the time. New England governors say U.S. tariffs and rhetoric toward Canada is taking a bite out of tourism. But Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey acknowledges concerns about safety at the border and the real troubles visitors could face.
But it's a challenging time. I think across the board, we could all say that our tourism numbers, for example, are down anywhere between 20 and 60% in all of our states.
Healey was part of a meeting between a group of Canadian premiers and governors of some northeastern U.S. states. Green Party leader Elizabeth May accuses the Liberals of hitting a new low in contempt for Parliament. Her ire focuses on the government's plan to speed its major projects bill through the House of Commons this week. May calls it worse than a Conservative omnibus bill rammed through under then-Prime Minister Stephen Harper more than a decade ago. Evacuation alerts for some homes closest to a wildfire in Squamish, BC have now been lifted, thanks to weekend rain and cooler conditions. It's one of 2 major BC blazes where firefighters are marking progress. In Manitoba, rain helped tamp down wildfire enough that the Pimicikamat Cree Nation has begun a gradual return. Toronto area police have dismantled an organized criminal network linked to the towing industry. Police accuse 18 suspects of insurance fraud by staging car crashes and using threats and firearms to control local towing operations. A new Netflix documentary on Rob Ford promises to tell the story of an underdog mayor and his public struggles. Director Cheyenne Brown says she wanted to show the human side of Ford, beyond the headlines.
He wanted to help people, but his politics just, didn't necessarily agree with half of the city. So it's quite interesting. I found him really interesting and a complex character, and I really enjoyed kind of, digging into, not only the scandals, but the man, behind those scandals.
It's called Trainwreck, Mayor of Mayhem, and it begins streaming on Netflix tomorrow. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Edmonton Oilers will look to stave off elimination tomorrow night in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Oilers captain Connor McDavid expects his team to rise to the challenge.
The Cup will be in the building. It's those games are what you dream of. Obviously, it's not for us, but anytime the Cup's in the building, you're playing. It's a good sign.
Game 7, if necessary, would be Friday night back in Edmonton. Meanwhile, McDavid was among the first 6 players named to Canada's preliminary men's hockey roster for the Milan Olympics. Game 5 of the NBA Finals goes tonight as the Oklahoma City Thunder host the Indiana Pacers. The series is tied at 2. Canadian star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 32.7 points a game in the finals for the Thunder. And Canada's Leylah Fernandez advanced to the second round of the Lexus Nottingham Open grass court tennis tournament. She beat Susan Lamens of the Netherlands. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.